What is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friend. Mrs. A here with another lesson to share with you. Before we get started, I want to remind you that we always take a moment to check in with our feelings and our emotions, just giving us all an opportunity to listen to our bodies, clear our minds, and really focus on what we may need in this very moment. If you have grown-ups nearby, encourage them to try this too. This is a skill that we will practice over and over again, something that is really helpful for all of us humans, no matter how old or young we may be. So today we're going to check in with our feelings and listen to the messages that our body is sending us. If our bellies are feeling a little uncomfortable or jittery, we might be feeling nervous or anxious or worried. If our mind is feeling really crowded and overwhelmed, really busy, we might be feeling stressed out or overwhelmed or maybe distracted. If our bodies feel really calm and settled and our minds are thinking clearly or quickly, we might be feeling really comfortable and calm. We might be feeling really focused and determined. There are so many different things that we will feel throughout the day and throughout the week, and it's really important that we get to know and understand those feelings so we can figure out how best to direct them. Sometimes when we're feeling one way, we might feel stuck in that way, or it might really overwhelm us with excitement or energy. And so it's really helpful for us to identify those feelings and welcome them and greet them and get to know them so we know how to manage them when they're visiting. Now, there are no good or bad feelings. Feelings change over time throughout the day, as I mentioned, and we may experience a lot of them even in a short time. That's okay. Just like the weather can change quickly or without notice, our feelings might do the same. And so I'm going to show you a feelings poster that I've made, and I'm asking you to identify your feeling or your emotion. All you have to do is point to it, read the name of the emotion if you're able, and say it out loud. Let's see if we can find our feelings. Did you find your feeling? Okay, let's say it out loud. 3, 2, 1. Excited! Thank you so much for sharing. If you'd like to get your own copy of this poster, you can visit my Patreon and you can make a donation, even one time, for $1. You'll get it as a free download. Thank you. So, if you already have your own feelings poster that you like to use, fantastic. You can also hit that red subscribe button, and that gives me a little encouragement. Now, I said I was feeling excited, and that is because we're going to talk about a really amazing holiday today that so many people celebrate. Maybe you're one of them or know someone who is. Maybe you haven't heard of this holiday before. That's okay too. Before we get started talking about this holiday or reading these books, we always take time as well to do some exercises to build our muscles and to help us manage our emotions or clear our minds if we're feeling stuck or overwhelmed or distracted. And so we are going to look at the month, and that is October, and we're going to use that to help us. So October is the 10th month, so we'll do 10 moves and then 9 moves and then 8 moves. And Fig is also here to help us. Fig is actually showing us one of the moves we'll be doing today. What do you notice about how their body is shaped? What muscles they're using? What parts of their body are kind of in motion? You can make some observations and guesses, and we'll do Fig's move in just a little bit. To start us off, though, we're going to do 10 squats. To do a squat, you need to stand up, and then we are going to bend our knees as much as we can, almost to make a right angle with them. And you might want to put your arms out to steady you, and we will squat down 10 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, halfway, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fantastic work. Now we have Big's moves to do. Big is definitely standing up. They have one arm up and one leg up. Oh, they are marching. Thanks, Big. So friends, once again, stand if you're able, and we are going to march in place. And we're going to do it 9 times. Ready to march? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Amazing job. Finally, we have 8 moves to do, and I thought we could do something that doesn't require us to stand. I thought we could sit and do 8 head rolls. It's a great way to loosen up our neck and relax our shoulders a bit. So let's roll our head in either direction, or you can take turns. We'll do this 8 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome job. Thanks so much for moving your body with me today. Now to cool down, we'll take 3 big breaths. Listen for my bell, and that'll tell you when to breathe in big. Ready? Fabulous work, friends. Thanks so much for moving your body and then cooling back down. Now, as I mentioned, we are going to talk all about a holiday that many people celebrate. And I have more information in our message here. Just like all my messages, I often hide alliterations or onomatopoeias, which are sound words, and sometimes, if you're lucky, a spoonerism, where words are next to each other, but the first sounds are switched. So be on the lookout for those as we read. Dear enthusiastic and brilliant friends, there are so many special celebrations and awesome holidays throughout the year. What's your favorite? Did you know that there's a holiday being celebrated by 1 billion people around the world today? Woohoo! That's more than 2 times all of the people in the United States. That holiday is called Diwali, and it's a celebration of light and darkness, good triumphing over evil. There are lots of terrific traditions and wonderful ways people celebrate, and we'll learn about some of them with the help of these blissful books. Love, Mrs. A. Did you notice any alliterations? Words that are next to each other that start with the same beginning sound or letters? Did you notice any onomatopoeias or sound words in that message? I really love when friends look carefully and listen closely to see if they can spot them. Now, I mentioned that this holiday, Diwali, is celebrated by over 1 billion people around the world. And today we're going to look at some books that help us understand it a little bit better and help maybe connect some experiences or stories that you may have experienced or heard of people experiencing to this holiday. And it also really connects to last week's video when we talked about heritage, because some of these stories remind us of different traditions and celebrations that are part of our culture. And heritage is all of those beautiful things that are passed down from your family to you. And Diwali and celebrating Diwali is part of many people's culture or heritage. So let's look first at this book here called Vinny's Diwali. And it's by Thirty Umrigar, illustrated by Nadi Chanini. And we are going to look at just a few pages together. But this is all about Vinny, Her favorite holiday is Diwali, and we'll hear just a few pages together. Binny woke up happy but nervous. It was her day to share about Diwali, the festival of lights. Since her class was learning about different celebrations, her teacher, Mr. Boomer, had asked her to talk about her favorite holiday. Last month, Sarah talked about Rosh Hashanah, and today it was Binny's turn. She hoped everything would go just as her teacher had planned. At the beginning of my episode, I asked what your favorite holiday was. Is it Diwali, just like Binny's, or is it different? Binny started getting ready for school. She smiled as she noticed the Indian outfit Mom and Dad had laid on her chair. Maybe it was the perfect day to wear her new blue suede shoes for good luck. Binny turned around and got a glimpse of her mom looking so beautiful in the bright red silk sari Dad had bought her for Diwali. Do you see her mom in that bright red silk sari? Saris are a very common type of clothing that people who are from India or live in India often wear. Everybody went shopping for Diwali. Kids got new clothes and toys. Parents bought each other jewelry, and friends exchanged gift baskets filled with cakes and sweets and nuts. Does your favorite holiday include exchanging gifts or eating sweet treats? Wearing her new clothes, Binny ran downstairs for breakfast. Instead of cereal, Mom and Dad had a treat for her: warm jalebi, orange discs of sweetness that melted in her mouth when she bit into them, and soft, milky pettis that crumbled in her mouth and made her lick her lips. Yum! Dad quickly packed the rest for her class. May the words you speak today be as sweet as the jalebi and as soft as the pettis, he said. Mom drove Binny to school. Remember to tell them about the oil lamps, she told Binny as she kissed her goodbye. Good luck, Bin. You will do great. After morning circles time, Mr. Boomer called Binny's name. But when she stood before the class, a terrible thing began to happen. Suddenly, she felt so shy and scared, her mind went blank. Oh no. I heard, even just in these first few pages, a lot of different feelings that Binny was feeling. Happy and nervous at the beginning. Now it seems like she is suddenly feeling shy and scared. If you grab this book from your library or from the link in my description, you'll be able to find out what happens. See if Binny is able to share about her favorite holiday, or if she has to change her plans because she's not feeling ready yet. Make sure you grab your own copy and finish the story so you can find out. Now, this next book is a little bit of a different Diwali story. It is called Diwali Rose, and it is by Vashti Rahman with pictures by Jamil Akib. And I wanted to read this beginning part here to tell you a bit more about it. Ricky is looking forward to Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. He's also waiting for 2 special rosebuds to bloom. The buds are on the bush that his grandfather had planted in the front yard. His grandfather promises that the roses will be the color of Diwali, but Ricky can't imagine what that color might be. One morning, on his way to school, Ricky bends one of the rosebuds to get a closer look and accidentally snaps it off. When his grandfather believes the new neighbors have stolen his rosebud, Ricky must summon the courage to confess what he has done. This story is set in Trinidad, which is a small island, and I learned that there were people who moved from India to Trinidad, which I hadn't known before. I learned that just from reading this book. And so we'll read a few pages together. Ricky was leaving for school when he saw the 2 rosebuds. They were on the bush he had helped Grandpa plant. Whenever Ricky asked what color the new roses would be, all Grandpa would say was Diwali color for a Diwali rose. Ricky could not imagine what Diwali color might be. I wonder what color these roses will be. Do you see any hints? So he gently bent to the tip of one bud, hoping to see a hint of color, and the rosebud snapped off. Fear and worry darkened Ricky's mind. At first, his feet refused to move. Then he raced down the path for school. Are you hearing any feelings words here too? Fear and worry. Oh no, he accidentally snapped off that rose. That evening, Grandpa was grumpy. Somebody meddled with his rose bush, said Grandma. I tell you it's the Indian people, said Grandpa. Who else could it be? And I tell you not to accuse people of mischief just because they different, said Grandma. Ricky decided that this wasn't a good time to talk about the rosebud accident. So automatically, Grandpa is thinking it's Indian people across the street. Interesting. I wonder why he's thinking that. On the night before Diwali, Ricky asked Ma, why Grandpa's always blaming Indian people for something and saying how they different and bad. They is Indian just like us. Not just like us, said Ma, putting water on to boil for evening tea. They only just come here. Our family come from India more than 100 years ago. But even if they is different, that is no reason for Grandpa to be afraid of them, said Ricky. You're right, child, said Ma. This gets even more interesting. Ricky and his family are from India, and yet his grandpa is blaming people across the street who are from India because they're from India, but his family is also from India. Fascinating. You'll have to see how this story ends and what Ricky does and how Grandpa handles it when you grab your own copy of Diwali Verse. It is a really great book with some really lovely illustrations. I know you're going to love it. And last but not least, the 5 days of Diwali. This really helped me learn a lot about the holiday and a lot about many traditions and practices that people do when they celebrate. And this is a really cool book because it kind of walks you through all different parts of Diwali and really helps you learn a lot. It is called Let's Celebrate 5 Days of Diwali, and it's written by Ajanta and Vivek with edits by Janella Diller. And just like all of my favorite books, it has a pronunciation guide, which means it teaches us about many of the words that we see and helps us know how to say them correctly and learn about what they are. Hi, I'm Maya. I love to go on fun adventures in India with my brother Neil. Hi, I'm Neil. We live in Chicago. We just landed in India to celebrate Diwali. Come join us. Hi, I'm Chintu the squirrel. I love to join my friends on their trips. This is a map of India. India is a big country. It has many states, languages, festivals, and dances. Diwali is India's biggest festival. It's called the Festival of Lights. It's celebrated all over India. Here's India, and it has many, many parts, different states in India, many different languages, many different festivals, and Diwali is celebrated throughout. It's also celebrated in many other countries throughout the world. Maya, Neil, and Chintu go to their Auntie Esha's place. In India, Auntie is called Mausi. Esha Mausi, we are here to celebrate Diwali with you, they say. Mausi welcomes them with warm hugs. The kids ask, Mausi, why is Diwali called the Festival of Lights? Let me tell you the story of Diwali, Mausi says. And here it says, Info Zoom, the story of Diwali. Once upon a time, there was a famous king named Ram. Ram had to live in a forest for 14 years with his queen, Sita, and his brother, Laxman. One day, an evil king named Ravan went to Ram's house in the forest. Sita was the only one at home. Ravan took Sita away with him. She did not want to go. Ram had to be very brave. He went all the way to Ravan's house and got Sita back. Ram then came back to his palace with Sita and Laxman. On that day, people decorated the entire city with lots of lights to welcome them. This day is celebrated as Diwali. And I see another example of a beautiful sari here, just like Vinny's mom was wearing in that first book. And this book goes on to tell you about each of the 5 days of Diwali. And it talks a bit about the traditions and the different ways that people celebrate. And so you can see marks each day. There's day 1 and day 2 and day 3 and so on. This is a fantastic book and it's really interactive. It's like it's talking to you. And so I definitely recommend you grab 5 days of Diwali if you'd like to learn more. We've been talking a bit about favorite holidays and Diwali specifically. And one of my favorite holidays is coming up really soon, Halloween. And I will be sharing an amazingly funny and a little bit spooky book with you next week. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss this spooktacular book. Before we go, let's take some time to do a mindful moment. Today, we're going to do a mindful looking moment. And we've been talking about favorite holidays, but now I want us to focus on our favorite color. And for 1 minute, we're going to look around our space really carefully and see how many different things we notice that are our favorite color. I'm going to be looking for things that are in my favorite color, and I'd like you to look for things that are in your favorite color. Are you ready to do some mindful looking? Let's start. Fantastic looking, friends. Now that you've spotted some things that are your favorite color, how are you feeling? What do you notice about your brain or body? It's really focused. It's calm. Oh, thank you so much for sharing and practicing that mindful moment with me. Remember, each episode ends with a different mindful moment, so you can always go back and check out some other ones if you'd like to try something else. Before you go, I need to tell you that I love you because you're you, not because of what you do. And I can't wait to see